and very excited to have on with me today Seth Greene. If you would just let us know over in the chat area that you can hear us, that we're coming through, and that you can see Seth's screen okay. All right, Sherry says, yepper. Audio okay. Okay, great. Yes, okay, great. So just want to check on that, make sure you can see us and hear us okay. Everyone should be coming on now here, but just to get started, really want to thank you guys for being on today and taking the time. Promise this is going to be really great stuff. We had Seth on our virtual advisor summit, and he just offers amazing stuff. He's one of the top, from my perspective, thought leaders just with marketing, selling, and is just heavily involved in this industry. So just to tell you guys a little bit about Seth before I turn it over to him. He is nationally recognized as a direct response marketing expert for financial advisors. He's got many best-selling books that are out there right now. You can get it at Barnes & Noble or Amazon. He is a co-host of Sharkpreneur podcast with, if you guys ever watch Shark Tank, I know I'm a big fan. Kevin Harrington, who was on there, him and Seth host a podcast. He's been in a number of magazines, including Insurance News Net, Life Health Pro, Think Advisor, and featured in a number of magazines outside of the industry, like Inc. magazine, LA Times, Boston Globe, etc. He is the founder of the fastest growing direct response marketing firm in the country, Marketing Domination LLC, and will make new clients and referrals appear to your practice like magic. And if you've ever met Seth before, he's into magic and those kinds of things, so it's very fitting that that's kind of the tagline for his business. So Seth, with that, I'll turn it over to you. And again, from me, I just want to thank you for doing this for our members today, and I'm so excited to see what you got to show for us.
Well, thanks for having me, Brian. I really appreciate it. I am honored to be here and get to serve your folks. So real quick, we're here today to talk about how to finally get the referrals you deserve from CPAs and attorneys. So if that's what you're looking for, you've come to the right place. I'm gonna just to make sure I tailor today's content to you correctly, I'm gonna do a quick poll. I'd like to know, which one are you? Are you a financial advisor? Are you an insurance agent? Are you an RIA? Are you some hybrid type of the three? You could just vote real quick. All right, we'll give it 5 more seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, awesome. Lots of financial advisors and hybrid. Okay, beautiful. All right, this is exactly what you want. So I'm going to start out and share with you what's possible when this works. But I'm going to do something completely contrary. I'm going to break every rule in marketing and share with you a negative testimonial. So this is David Braun, who went through the process we're going to teach you today. And he says, your process wasn't what I expected. I'm not sure what I expected. It took a lot longer than I thought. However, you got me in front of CPAs and attorneys I otherwise never could have met. I have even gotten referrals and business from them, and my book isn't even out yet. I'm very happy with my results so far. I'm excited to get more as we finish my book this month. Oh, sorry, got to close the poll. Okay, poll should be closed. Thank you, Sherry. All right, so this is David's book, Navigating Life Transitions, Making the Right Decisions to Secure Your Financial Future. And I'm kind of giving you a sneak peek at how you're going to get referrals from CPAs and attorneys, but stick with me because it's not what you think. This is Lori Ellis McLeod. She's a financial advisor up in Madison, Wisconsin, and she goes after her ideal clients are affluent business owners. So she wrote a book using our process that we're going to teach you called Make Smart Choices with Your Madison Business. And she just had her book launch party a couple weeks ago. These are a few of the people that were at her book launch party. This is one of these swag tables where she was giving away swag bags with the book, with a whole bunch of other materials in it. And she had over 30 referrals come to that event. We've had other advisors who are, getting 50 people plus to their book launch parties. And we're going to teach you how to do all that in just a minute. This is a guy in my own backyard, Carmine Party. His book is How Western New Yorkers Can Navigate the Financial Challenges of Life Transition, Conversations with Local Experts. And we're going to get into all of this right now. We're going to see one of the things you may have discovered is if you tried to get referrals from CPAs and attorneys, they have a whole bunch of excuses. And we're going to talk about how this defeats every single excuse they've got to the point where they will be chasing you. They will be literally seeking you out and saying, how do I be a part of this? And they'll be looking to you as opposed to you chasing them. So who this is for? This is for financial advisors or insurance agents or hybrid, some combination thereof. You've got to be, obviously, a financial services professional. You've got to have 30 minutes a week. That's how this works. That's how much time it takes, 20 to 30 minutes a week. Or we do have some advisors who have done 2 hours, 1 day a month, and gotten everything done for the entire month. So you've got to have 30 minutes a week, and you've got to be coachable. If you think you know everything, well, I hope then you wouldn't be on today's class. So this is for you if you're a financial advisor, you're an insurance agent, you're a financial services professional, and you are fed up with being like the best kept secret in your area. You know you're good at what you do. You do the right thing for your clients. You take care of them and help them make smart choices with their money. And if only more people knew how good you were and how you were different from every other advisor, that would make all the difference in the world. That is what this is for. If you want to get your foot in the door with those CPAs or attorneys or other professionals that have your ideal clients as their clients, this will do just that. Those folks that you read about them in the business pages of your newspaper in your town, you're like, man, I wish I could get a meeting with that person. I can't cold call, I can't send mail, I can't get past the 3 secretaries. This is going to do exactly that. Now, in order to get the most out of today's presentation, I need you to stop checking Facebook, close any other browser windows you've got open, and pay attention to this, and not just pay attention, but actually take notes. Studies have shown that the multitasking, the Wall Street Journal just came out with an article saying multitasking makes you stupid, and my wife can attest to that, that it makes me stupid when I try and do it. And it also makes your retention rate drop. So you won't remember as much if you're doing something else, and you won't remember as much unless you take notes. So I'm going to ask you to play with me and play full out and participate. And we will allow, if you've got questions, you can type them in the chat box, you can write them down, and I'll do my best to answer them along the way. And then I'll pop open my webcam at the end and meet you in person, and I'll be showing you physical examples of what we're talking about and answering any other questions you've got. Real briefly, I am a Series 7 financial advisor, life and health, long-term care, all the licenses. And I started out working for A.G. Edwards. Some of you are old enough to remember when A.G. Edwards was still around before they got bought out by Wachovia, and then before Wachovia got bought out by Wells Fargo. And the thing that frustrated me, and I'm still a producing advisor to this day, I've always stayed in the industry because I love what it does, and I love helping our clients. But the thing that drove me nuts was when I got, and maybe you can relate to this, when I got back from training from A.G. Edwards when I passed my 7, is my branch manager handed me a phone book, literally, and said, they're all in there, Tiger, go get them. And I didn't know any better. So I made 300 cold calls a day, every day of the week, all right, not Sundays, interrupting strangers, asking them for dinner. And if you've ever cold called, you know it sucks. It's a lousy use of your time. It's horrible positioning. Your heart surgeon would never cold call. Your lawyer would never cold call. But you're stuck being perceived as a salesperson. We're going to change all that today. I'm going to teach you how. So it all changed for me. This is my wonderful wife, Rebecca. We've been married for 12 years. And she was nice enough after I nagged her for 30 days in a row to let me go borrow the money to go hire Dan Kennedy, who some of you may have heard of. He's got about 20 best-selling books. He's the highest paid marketing consultant on the planet. And you'll have to forgive my money hat, which I wore to stand out at that conference. But I got to go work with Dan personally, which is absolutely life-changing. And at the time at A.G. Edwards, I was 6,699. What that means is I was at the bottom of 6,700 reps. I was one up from the bottom. I was in last place, basically, for opening new accounts. Within 2 years of working with Dan, I was in the top 30 nationwide. So huge increase, obviously, to go from the bottom of almost 7,000 reps to the top. So that got me written about in Registered Rep Magazine. It got me written about in a bunch of trade journals for financial advisors, Insurance Newsnet. It got me written about in 3 best-selling books for advisors, 2 of them by Mary Beth Mesky, who some of you know from Red Zone Marketing, And all of a sudden, my phone started ringing off the hook with other advisors who said, how do I do that? Along the way, I need to update the picture. I've written 7 books: Financial Advisor Marketing Magic, Real Estate Marketing Magic, Online Marketing Magic, Cutting Edge Marketing Magic, Facebook Ninja, Secrets of Top Producing Financial Advisors, and Market Domination for Podcasting, which is on the shelves at Barnes & Noble right now, which is like a bucket list thing for me. I've also been featured in other media like Inc. and MSNBC, CNN, LA Times, Boston Globe, Miami Herald, you name it. So again, my phone was ringing off the hook with advisors saying, how do I do what you just did? So I started a company, Market Domination LLC, that we started 10 years ago to do it for them. Because what I learned in 10 years of working with advisors is a lot of them, they will say, I want to do the work, and then they will say, can you just hand me leads? Can you just do it for me? And so Market Domination LLC was born. Because in the beginning, I said, sure, I'll teach you how to do it. And then some of them would go and do it, and most of them wouldn't because they'd get too busy or life would get in the way. And they would come back and say, that's a great idea. Can I write a check? Can you just do it for me? So that's what Market Domination LLC is all about. This is, again, my wonderful wife, Rebecca, and our 3 kids. Max is 8, Max is 10, Ella is 8, Lily is 4. That's the obligatory picture of my cute kids. And we're going to get back to why they're important in what we're about to teach you just a minute. One of the most common things I hear as to why advisors don't do what I'm about to share with them is compliance. You know, it's the biggest hurdle, right? Sales prevention department. And they say, my compliance department won't let me do this. Guess what? It's not true. We created a way where this actually is compliance friendly. I have clients at Morgan Stanley, at some of the biggest brokerage wirehouse firms in the country, and if they can get it through their paranoid compliance department, you guys can hopefully get it through yours. We haven't had a single client get it vetoed. So that's the good news. Now, why don't CPAs and attorneys refer, right? Because that's what you want. You want referrals from them because they're the best introductions on the planet. They don't refer. One of the main reasons is because all financial advisors look the same. They can't tell the difference even if you say, 10 advisors in a room, you say, who gives great customer client service? They all raise their hand. No one ever says, yeah, I neglect my clients and I suck. So how are they supposed to? Somebody's lying. 80% of the world of America can't be an above average driver. It's mathematically impossible. So how do they tell the difference? They can't up until now. So what they do is they just don't refer. It's safer. They don't have to stick their neck out. They don't have to risk offending another advisor or risk their reputation with a client. They just say, I don't refer, and they think they're off the hook. The other reason they don't refer is because every advisor to them wants to sell them, wants to talk about the advisor. The advisor wants to talk about themselves and why they're fabulous. And everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's what the attorney is thinking. That's what the accountant is thinking. They're thinking, okay, you're fabulous. You're telling me you got some whiz-bang living benefit on annuity, or you're telling me about your 17-point financial planning process. That's great. What's in it for me to stick my neck out? And we figured out a way to flip the script on the CPA and attorney so that they want to do this by making them feel really, really special and by stroking the heck out of their ego. And I'm going to share with you exactly how we do that. I'm going to do another quick poll. I just want to know where we're at. How many referrals from CPAs and attorneys did you get last month? 0 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 5, or more than 5? And give it 10 more seconds. Okay, 88. Okay, everybody's voting. Okay, I will close the poll. 84% to 0 to 1, right? That's why you're here, because you want to fix that. All right, so here's how to finally get the referrals you deserve from CPAs and attorneys. And these are the steps you want to write these down. Step 1 is build your list. Who are the CPAs and attorneys you want? You don't want just anybody. You might not want a sole practitioner CPA who graduated from CPA school 6 months ago. They might not have much of a practice base for you. You might not want, for example, we have a client in Brownsville, Texas, and he does Medicare. That's all he does. So he doesn't want a corporate lawyer to be in his book. It doesn't do him any good. So step 1, who are the CPAs, attorneys, or other related professionals that you want referrals from? This is how this works. You have to think, who has my clients? Who has the clients I want as their client? Because they're going to do the heavy lifting for this and send those people to you. So step one, build your list. Step two, you have to market to them for the interview. Because here's one of the big secrets. As you've seen, you're going to write a book, but you're not going to have to write it. You're going to interview the CPAs and attorneys for the book. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. Why would a CPA or attorney want to be in your book? Sherry, Jeff, Bill, give me a quick in the chat box on why do you think a CPA or attorney might want to be in your book? All right, get more exposure. Yep. Get introduced to more people. Get them clients. Yep. All you give them referrals. Good job, Kurt. Awesome. So all of those are true. It's an ego stroke for them. Because if you think about it, if they're a CPA or CPA, how much love do they get, let's say, from their wife? I'm going to be stereotypical here for a second. Ego, Sherry, you're absolutely right. Show their skills, David, absolutely right. They're not getting that much love from their wife, right? Their wife isn't going around telling people at cocktail parties, my husband's an accountant. And it just doesn't happen, right? It's my husband's a brain surgeon. You know, that's sexy. You know, being an accountant is not sexy. Being a lawyer, being an estate planning attorney, not necessarily sexy, right? So what if they could finally be recognized for the expert they are, for the genius that they are? Ego stroke. As Ken said, you are absolutely right. So that's why they will do this. It's an ego stroke to them. It makes them feel important. You know, Mary Kay of Mary Kay Cosmetics said the two things people want more than money and sex are recognition and fame. So you're going to market to them to get them to say yes to the interview, because it's an interview. You're not saying I want referrals. You don't ever mention referrals, because then their guard goes up. This is, I want to interview you for my book. Oh my, I've picked you out of all the divorce lawyers in this town. I've picked you to be in my book. Oh my God, I would love to. Right? Then you're going to conduct the interview and you're going to record it. Now the interview should be in person, but if it can't be because of logistics or how far away you are or scheduling, that's okay. But we find our advisors and insurance agents get a whole lot better results if they meet with the person in person and record it. Why would that work? Why would it work better than doing it over the phone? Because you're building a better relationship. You're going to record the interview, and then you're just going to transcribe it. That transcribing just means someone sits down and listens to it and types every single word that was said in the interview. So you now have a script, a transcript of your interview. And then it has to be edited, because the way we talk, the way I'm talking to you right now, is not the way we read. So if you took a transcript of this webinar and read it, it would not be compelling literature. I mean, obviously it's an interview book. It's not going to be War and Peace, but it wouldn't be, it would have all of my pauses. It would have all of my stuff in it that I would talk to you about that I wouldn't write to you about. So it's got to be edited to look and sound professional. Let's see here. John is our, John, what type of recording device do you recommend? You are getting ahead of me, but I promise you I will answer that. And if I don't, you have permission to chat smack me. You know what? I'll jump ahead. What type of recording device do you recommend? It all depends on your level of technology sophistication. Don't get scared. I literally have a client I talked to today who's in Phoenix. He is about 70, and he couldn't figure out how to get the audio file to his computer to email it. So he literally mails me a CD of the audio file for every interview he does. So it doesn't matter if you're tech illiterate. How do you record it? Again, depends on your level of tech savviness. You could record it with something as low rent as a voice recorder that you got from Staples for 20 bucks. You could use the voice memo app on your iPhone or your Android that comes with it. You could even get high tech. We've had advisors who who buy microphones and headsets and do a fancy audio setup, but 90% of our advisors either use their iPhone or they use a voice recorder. So let's say I've got my interviews transcribed, I've gotten them edited, I now need graphic design, because I'm going to, as I showed you examples of the books, I'm going to show you physical ones in just a few minutes, the physical copies. You have to make it look good. This is not an e-book. This is not a PDF download. You will produce versions of it on Kindle, and you will produce a PDF that you can email to people or have on your website. However, the goal of this is to produce a physical, like bookstore-looking book, like you would find on these shelves at Barnes & Noble. I'm 71 and don't know how and do not have this in my computer at home or here. Thank you for being honest, Marianne. I appreciate that. It doesn't matter if you're 71. It doesn't matter. I literally have a client. I showed you Carmine Party's book. He is literally 3 blocks away from me here in Williamsville, New York, and he is in his 70s, and he couldn't even figure out how to get the file to the CD. So he literally used a voice recorder for all of that, all the interviews, had them all saved on this voice recorder, and just walked the recorder over to my office. And we then plugged it into the computer and got the files off of it. I was a little nervous because he was putting all the interviews on this one device, and if it crashed, we would have had a problem. But he didn't know, he didn't even know how to plug it in to the computer, and it's okay. You can still do this. So you need graphic design. You need to make it look like a real book. It needs to be laid out. Like the interior of a book isn't just a Word doc. Like it needs to have copyrights. It needs to have an introduction and a conclusion and chapters about you and how fabulous you are. So it needs to be laid out to look good. It needs to get published. You can, the good news is anyone can publish a book now. You can just self-publish on Amazon, go to Create Space, create an account, and you can publish a book. Now, of course, it's going to say it's published by you, and there is that issue in terms of if anyone notices, as opposed to having it published by a real publishing company. That was one of the reasons we're publishing so many books for our advice to clients every month that we started our own publishing company, BMV Publishing, to handle all of the publishing for all of our clients so that they get to put that label on their book and they got to say they were published by us as opposed to by themselves, because it looks more credible if there's a real publishing company behind it. So we made one. Then you need to have a book launch party. You saw pictures from Lori where everyone who's in the book, all the CPAs and attorneys come, they bring their wives, because again, this is sexy now. They're in a book. Somebody finally recognized them for how smart they are. And then they bring their clients and prospects with to the party. Why would a CPA or an attorney bring their clients to a party? Kurt, what you think? Let's see. Brandon, Chad, Hugh, Jackie, Jim Rund, Amy Fan. Why might a CPA invite 5 or 10 of his clients to come to the book launch party? Sherry, show up, ego again. You bet. Think about it. You're going to have a photographer at the party, taking pictures of everybody holding up the book. You're going to have people signing copies of you're going to be signing copies of the book. The CPA gets to sign copies. There's going to be big stacks of books all over the place. And it gives them credibility, says Kurt. Yeah, you bet. They're part of this now. Free publicity, says Jackie. Absolutely. To impress them, says Joe. Absolutely. Because that client's going to come and go, damn, my CPA is really good. Look at him. He's in this book. Look at all these people. Lori had a jazz quartet at her party. She had her logo carved in a fruit sculpture. You don't have to go that far, but she threw a nice shindig. So they're going to bring their clients and prospects to the party, and you might get those people right off the bat, because when that person reads the book or gets a copy of the book from their CPA, what are they going to do? They're going to say, oh, if they're looking for a second opinion on their finances, on their money, on their investment, they're going to go see the person that their CPA just handed them a copy of the book. See, that's a sneaky backdoor way to get the CPA to refer you or the attorney to refer you without having to ask for a referral. Because now it's, for example, one of the campaigns we run after the book party is we send the CPA or the attorney, 2 copies of the book with a letter from you that talks about how excited they are that this project has come to fruition. Now, and we give 2 copies of the book because one is for them, one is for them to give away. But do they just want to tell one person? Alan Ford, what do you think? Is the CPA going to say, thanks, I'll take this 1 copy and give it to 1 client? Andy Churn, Bob Asari, you think it's going to be 1 person? Nope, exactly. They're going to say, this is great, can I get more copies? And you're going to say, absolutely. You're absolutely right, Chris Kelly. Of course they're going to say, can I get more copies? You're going to sell them at cost. We're not trying to make any money on the books. And we don't charge you any money, any profits on the books, because we don't want to make money selling books. We want to keep them as cheap as possible. So that CPA or attorney buys as many copies as they possibly can, sends them out. We'll even give them a letter from them to their clients about why they were excited to be in this book and why they're excited to be part of the project, which of course is a subtle plug without them noticing for you. So if a CPA picks up 300 copies, sends them out to all of his clients with this letter, you think some of those clients are going to come your way? Bob Davies, I know you're sitting there going, yeah, actually, I could see that's crazy, but it's just my work. Then we do an Amazon book launch because we make the book both a physical copy on Amazon where people can buy it and Amazon ships them the book, and a Kindle copy on Amazon, a downloadable ebook. We do the Amazon book launch and get everybody in the book to tell everyone they know, all of their clients, to say, hey, today my book is live on Amazon. And people go, wow, and they go buy a copy. And of course, that's more people you're exposed to and more people exposed to your message. And then, of course, them buying those copies pushes the book up the Amazon rankings. I'm not saying, we can't make it a New York Times bestseller, but the higher up it goes on Amazon, the more credibility you've got. As Marianne says, it gets the name out there to as many people as they can share. You're absolutely right. And step 10, after the book launch, the party's over, after the Amazon book launch happens, then we have you lead a monthly networking group. So if any of you, let me know if you've ever been in a BNI chapter or a Chamber of Commerce or some type of networking group. Just type in what type of networking group you were in the chat box. Okay, BNI from David. Yep, BNI, Chamber of Commerce. Yep. Okay, yep. Referral Club. Yep, got Tip Club. Got it. So imagine having your own chapter of a BNI or networking group, but you're in charge of it. There's no rules because it's not like through BNI. You don't have to follow their stuff. I've been a BNI member, but you run it, and you're the only advisor or insurance agent in the group. Everyone else in the group is a CPA or an attorney who is in the book. So you're the host. It was your book, and they get together with you every single month. You can run it like a BNI meeting. Somebody gets a 10-minute presentation. Everybody introduces themselves for 60 seconds. Everybody has an ask, et cetera, just like I'm sure Chris Kelly does in his networking professionals group. But somebody gets to you get to talk about cases and, hey, what are you doing about this type of thing coming along, or the DOL rule, or whatever it is. But if you're the only advisor in the group, you're the host of the group, and you're the guy who runs, or the gal who runs the group, and it's your book, who do you think all the referrals come to? You're seeing them every month. Any other advisor that they might know, probably, unless they're in a BNI group with them, they're not going to see very often. And they certainly didn't put them in a book. So all the referrals from that book, all the referrals from that group are coming to you. So the summary of the 10 steps is you're going to interview your ideal referral sources. You're going to turn the interviews into a book. You're going to publish and market the book, and then you're going to stay in front of them so that they keep buying more books every month. They keep handing them out, and they keep sending you business. Because every time they meet with a new prospect who might hire them, you want them handing out a copy of your book in their new client folder or their new presentation kit where they give them the brochure and the business card and all that stuff. You want them putting your book in there so that even if that prospect doesn't even hire the attorney, they still might hire you. Does that make sense? Awesome. Here's the really cool part. Again, over the last 10 years of working with advisors, doing stuff like this, we've learned they just want it done for them. They don't want to actually they don't have time. They're busy running a practice. They don't have time. They already have a full-time job or two, depending on how many employees they have in their practice. They don't necessarily have time to do it themselves. So I'm going to show you also how you can get it done for you. Before I do that, I'm going to ask you, would this be worth it to have a book, to be the author of a real published physical bookstore book featuring these CPAs and attorneys or other professional referral sources? And we'll talk in a minute about some other examples we've done that weren't just CPAs and attorneys. And would it be worth it to have your picture on the cover of that book, be the author of that book, be a published author on Amazon and Kindle, and have a party where they're all bringing people? Forgive the fire truck going by me in the background outside my office building. And then seeing those people every single month as the authority, as the host of the group and the author of the book, I think that would have a significant impact on the business. It has on mine, and it has on our clients. This is me. This is us, me and the kids. My wife took the picture. She wasn't in it. At Jellystone Resort. We go there every year. We just got back from a Great Wolf Lodge, which is an indoor water park. It's May when we're recording this, and I've taken several weeks off already. By the end of the year, I will probably have taken about 3 months off. And it's because I don't have to worry about where my next client is coming from. I don't have to worry about where my next referral is coming from because this does it all for me. Bob wants to know, do you have multiple CPAs, divorce attorneys, estate planning, or just one of each category? You're going to have more than one, because if you just had one of each category, it would be a very short book. So again, the 20 to 30-minute interview might be a 10 to 20-page chapter. So again, it depends on how long. We had one client where it took, and I'll show you their books. I'll come on camera in a minute, where it took 20 interviews to make a book. Some take 10. So if you just did 2 or 3, you'd have a really short book. I'm not sure if this would be worth it for a small rural community. A lot of them already golf and drink in the good old boys club. Hard to crack into that club. Small rural, we've had issues in small rural communities. It depends on how small it is, and we'll get to that in just a second. This is Max trying out, going to tryouts for travel soccer. I've coached the last 24 seasons of soccer straight. I've been to every single practice and every single game because I'm the coach. This is Ella, our 8-year-old. She just starred as Annie and Annie. She just auditioned for her first TV commercial, which is super exciting. And again, I've been to take her to every play rehearsal, musical rehearsal, and it's because of systems like this that allow me to do that. This is David Braun's book. We're going to show you some samples. This is Lori's, which you saw. I'm going to come on camera in just a minute, but obviously that is so awesome. Thanks for sharing. You are welcome, Sherry. And we're going to get to the small town stuff in just a minute. So again, it's worth it to be the published author of a real published book with your ideal referral sources in the book. And then have a book signing party where, again, Lori had a photographer, she had a videographer, and she had a really, really nice party where, she's following up weeks later, still following up with all the leads she got from it. Now, we normally charge to do all this for you. We normally charge $2,000 a month. And would it be worth it? Would it be worth it for $2,000? Heck, it depends on what product or service mix you're selling, Bruce. But if you were doing variable annuities, a $200,000 annuity ticket's $10,000 plus in commissions, unless you might take a trail option. But that's a 5 to 1. Obviously you don't net $10,000 off a $10,000 commission. But even if you netted half, that's a 2 to 1 return on your money, and that's if you got one client out of it. And obviously the goal is to get you a whole lot more. Ken wants to know, what if I'm a newer advisor? This would work great. So we actually have some advisors who were new in the business and did this to establish their reputation and build that network of CPAs and attorneys. Because normally, my branch manager told me when I started, he said, you're going to call the phone book, and then we're going to give you some orphan accounts. The advisors have left or they're dead or whatever, and you're going to call them all and they'll assign them to your rep number, and then you're going to find out who their accountant is and who their lawyer is, and you're going to take that accountant or lawyer to lunch and say, we have a client in common, and let's talk about our businesses. And I didn't know any better, so I did it. I cannot tell you how much money I spent buying breakfast, lunch, and coffee, how much, because they all expect you to pay when you're chasing them, how much time I wasted, how many pounds I gained doing that. And it didn't work. But if they were chasing me to be in my book, if they were reaching out to me and saying, I want to be in your interview, totally, they'll buy me lunch then. You know how long I haven't bought lunch for? I haven't bought lunch in years. Do you have examples or single chapters we could see? Yes. Terry, we're going to get to that in just a second. I'm going to come on camera and show you. This is one of my mentors, somebody I look up to, somebody who I've had the good fortune of doing coaching with. This is Tony Robbins. And Tony says if you continue to do what you've always done, you will continue to get what you've always got. So if you do what you've always done with CPAs and attorneys, you'll get 88% of you will get 0 to 1 referral a month from CPAs and attorneys. You have to change in order to make it work. Good news is we'll make it easy for you. We'll do all the work. And we're going to get to that in just a second. what I found is there are two big reasons why advisors and insurance agents don't do this. That's why they don't do anything. One is procrastination. Oh, that was a great idea. I'll think about that. I'll get back to it, and I'll get back to it, and I'll get back to it tomorrow, and it never happens. Tomorrow never comes, right? We've all done that. I've been guilty of, heck, going to a marketing conference, for example, or attending a webinar or a class like this one, and then I write down like 10 ideas, I have pages of notes, and then like one thing off that list gets implemented. And the other one is the money. Obviously, $2,000 a month isn't cheap. It's not inexpensive, but the ROI potential is absolutely insane when you think about it. And the good news is you're not going to pay $2,000 a month, because Brian twisted my arm and said you got to do something special, something crazy, something your CPA would kill you for doing to do this for my people. So here's how we're going to address procrastination and money. Procrastination, here's how we're going to fix that. You got 24 hours. So the very special Brian-only offer is going to be for 24 hours only. So 24 hours from now, let's say 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock tomorrow, which is Friday, close of business, the offer goes away and it goes back to regular price. Now, you don't need to get compliance approval ahead of time to do this. That doesn't matter. If it turns out 2 weeks later they tell you you can't, we'll refund your money. We'll figure something out. So you're going to have 24 hours to take advantage of the very special offer we're about to make. And again, we're going to do everything for you. We'll build the list of CPAs and attorneys in your area. We'll talk to you. We'll figure out the types of people, the types of professions you want to go after, and we'll go do all the research for you. We will send our proven multi-step, multimedia marketing campaign to get them to do the interview. We'll teach you how to conduct the interview, and we'll write the questions. You'll record it. We will transcribe every word that you say that it happens in that interview, and we'll edit it to make it professional and make it look good. Our graphic designers will do your book cover, your front cover, your back cover, and your spine. We'll do the layout. We'll publish it under you'll own all the rights, but you'll publish as published by us, so that you can say you were published by a real publisher. We'll help you plan your book launch party like we did Lori's, so that you absolutely hit it out of the park. We'll conduct the Amazon book launch for you and help you coordinate with everybody in the book to do the Amazon book launch. And if you keep going with us after the book comes out, we'll help you do the monthly group every single month as well. So again, we do everything for you, soup to nuts. All you've got to do is show up and do the interviews. It's normally $2,000 a month. Brian said you got to give us the best deal you've ever offered. $2,000 a month, I think you'd agree it's worth it. But again, you're not going to pay anywhere close to that. We're going to cut the price in half. It's $1,000 a month for everything. It's a 6-month minimum contract. On average, our advisors are taking about 6 months from start to finish to get the process done. The first month is all us doing all the research and doing the marketing. You'll get interviews in month 2. You do interviews like month 2 through 4 or 2 through 5. And then the last month is us putting together, publishing the book, planning the book launch party, doing the Amazon launch, and getting you off the ground and running. So again, it's only $1,000 a month. Where you're going to go to sign up for that is it's at marketdominationllc.com/financial advisor book. This is what the page looks like. I have to warn you, we have one issue. There's a whole lot of manual labor that goes along with doing all of this, as you can guess. There are only 10 slots available. We can only take on 10 advisors or insurance agents as clients at this particular time. It's first come, first serve. So it's marketdominationllc.com/financial advisor book. And we had some questions, so I'm going to start sharing my webcam so that you can see examples of the physical books, how they look. All right, let me change my, all right, can everybody type in the chat box? Can you type if you can see me? Let me know if you can see me. Yes, okay, all right. So here's an example. All right, so that's where my camera is. This is a laptop. My desktop died today. My hard drive is literally at the computer. They came and rescued me and got my slides off my dead hard drive. I ran home and grabbed my wife's laptop, and that's why I'm calling in on the phone. I'm using my wife's laptop for this. So that's why I don't have my headset on, because it works with my regular desktop computer that is dead right now. So this is Lori's book. Again, physical bookstore book. I'm going to try and do the phone and hold it up. All right, so here's a table of contents. Table of contents. What pages look like. what an interview might look like. Again, real book. There's Lori's. This is Don Turnbull, who's up in Canada. Security and peace of mind, making smart choices to get the future you want. David Braun's, this is a little shorter. Let's see, this is Adrian. She did a book on divorce, going from we to me. Again, we have advisors doing estate planning experts Atlanta. We've got advisors doing Medicaid. Question, can you do hardcover? Yeah, sure. Here, this is the hardcover. This is one of mine. Of course, I just dropped it. Live TV is great, right? Hang on. Let's fix that. Sorry if I just yelled in your ear. So, yes, you can do hardcover. Again, we don't make any money printing books. So if you want hardcover, it's going to cost you a little bit more per book. But again, we're not going to make any money on it. We're just charging you our printing cost, so I don't care. If you want hardcover, you want to pay for hardcover, you can have it. Let's see, other questions. We talked about compliance. Okay. I'm in the bonuses. I forgot. Shame on me. So here's the really cool part. So if your compliance department will allow you to, we will also turn the audio files of your interview into a podcast. So you will also be able to air every episode on iTunes. And then on iTunes, then you're along the way, before your book actually comes out, the audio will air. And then the attorneys and CPAs will post to their social media and email out that they're on your show, and now you've got an iTunes podcast in addition to the book. That is a bonus. If your compliance department says you can't do a podcast, that's okay. It's a bonus, especially for you folks. All right, we got some questions. Typical cost for softcover book and then a hardcover book. It depends. There's a lot of factors. It depends on how many pages it is. It depends. Oh, that's not a financial advisor. It depends on if there's any color on the inside of the book versus no color. For example, let's find. So Lori, this is her with black and white pictures because the color pictures made it cost a whole lot more. So $5 to $6 to $7 a book, depending on how many you buy. The more you buy, the cheaper you get. That's why we try and coordinate your CPAs and attorneys to all put their orders in at the same time. So then if we know if we're buying 700 copies, the price goes way down versus if we're buying 25. We can print in as small as 25. Kurt says my webpage isn't loading. That can't be. Oh, it's working. Error on my part. Okay, you made me nervous there for Kurt. We checked it this morning. What are the additional costs on average? Cost for the launch party, additional books, how many copies in the first run? Book launch party, that's up to you. So, I mean, Lori went all out. I mean, she served dinner and she'd sit down and spend a couple grand. You don't have to do that. Most of our advisors don't. They might do appetizers. They might just do drinks. They usually do cash bars as opposed to buying everybody alcohol. So, again, how much, you could spend a couple hundred. You could spend a couple thousand. It's all up to you on the party. How many copies in the first run? So if you had 10 CPAs and attorneys, so let's say you had, and you knew how many were coming, so if you had 50 people coming, I'd buy at least 50 copies of the book. Plus you're going to send a copy of the book to all your clients with a letter that we'll write for you so that your clients think you're fabulous for writing a book. And then we give them, and then we tell them to give the book away to somebody else. It's a whole lot easier to say, hey, check out this book by my financial advisor. I thought you might like it, as a referral, than it is to say, hey, how's your portfolio doing? You should really talk to my guy. So how many copies is totally up to you. And then obviously the CPAs and attorneys, they're going to, or you're not buying them. You know, if they want 300 copies each, that's my lips to God's ears, right? You're not buying their copies for them. Staying on, more questions. What are some of the sample questions? So sample questions, how'd you get started? What motivated you to become an attorney or an accountant or a divorce lawyer? What are some of the most common mistakes you see your clients making about getting divorced, planning their estates, planning their taxes, whatever it might be? You're asking us to commit to $6,000 with only 24 hours to reach you in your firm. It doesn't seem prudent to jump into you without doing some research. I'm on vacation. I stepped off the beach for this. Okay. Thank you for stepping off the beach for this, Amy Lawson. I really appreciate that. I'm honored that you took the time to do this while you're on vacation. It obviously meant you obviously were excited about it. It's not meant to be a hard sell. I apologize. The issue we've had, the reason why we have a 24-hour deadline is for the special offer is because we found when we didn't, nobody did it. 80% of the people who said they were interested put it off, and then we followed through, we sent them emails, we called them, and magically it never happened. Life got in the way, stuff got in the way, and nobody did it. So when we started imposing a deadline, magically people enrolled, and we were able to get them results. Now here's the other interesting thing, is even if you're motivated, not you specifically, Amy, we get the most number of sign-ups like an hour before the deadline is due to expire. I don't know why that is. It's human nature. When it's about to go away, we want it more. But we found the best way to get people to take action is to give them a hard deadline. Otherwise, they wait. You're not committing six. Okay, so for example, let's say you didn't like it. Let's say you changed your mind. You enrolled today on the beach to take advantage of the deal, and next week you change your mind. I'll refund you $1,000. Hopefully that's fair. Now, again, I'm not trying to put anybody off, not trying to offend anybody, but I've done hundreds of these, and the only way we got people to actually do it, as opposed to not putting it off, was to add a deadline. Other questions? How many months do your contracts last? So it's a 6-month minimum. After that, you can quit if you want, or you can keep going. On average, it's taking our advisors about 6 months till, book from start to finish, as in book launch done. And then after that, if you want to keep going and have us do the monthly group for you every month, you can. If you don't, if you want to do it on your own, you're totally okay to cancel. Sounds great, but I live in a country area. Okay, so that's another issue. So one, there's the small town. If your town is too small, if there aren't enough CPAs and attorneys to go, it won't work. And if we have an advisor in your town already, it depends on how big your city is. So in Los Angeles, or New York, Manhattan, I could have quite a few advisors doing this because there's thousands and thousands of lawyers and accountants, and it wouldn't be an issue. In Buffalo, which isn't that big, I think we've got less than 2 million people in our greater metropolitan area, and I've got 3 advisors in it, and it's fine. If you live in a really small town, it might not work. And if you're in a city that is already populated by too many of our advisors, we can't do it. So here's what I'll do. If you sign up to take advantage of the deal, and it turns out your town is too small, or you're in a town that we've already got covered, I'll just refund your money and cancel it. When is the next season of Robot Chicken? Thank you. I was waiting until someone caught that. Yes, I get their examples all the time. I get the Seth Greene reference all the time. So that now when someone says, what's your name for the reservation? I just say Seth Greene like the actor. Any successful example in GTA? I'm assuming by GTA you mean Greater Toronto area. And that would be Don Turnbull, who is in your neck of the woods, who's in the GTA. Pickering, Ontario. So yes, that is Don. Give me a week. Give me a week to get back and do the research, and if there isn't, okay, Amy, if you come back in a week, again, the offer that you won't get 50% off. I apologize. It's nothing against you. I've had so many advisors over the last 2 years that we've been doing this particular service, promise, and then fall through. And I held the spot in that city for them because they said they were taking it, and I had other advisors who wanted it. And 2 weeks later, they hadn't done it, and those advisors missed that, moved on to something else, and they could have gotten it, and they didn't. So it's got, again, nothing to do with you. How many interviews do you suggest for the book, Dawn? Monroe, it just depends on how chatty your guests are. We'll train you to be a good interviewer. for example, we had an advisor who asked the question, the first question, how'd you get started? And one accountant in his book, the answer was one sentence. And then we had another one, he asked another accountant the same, how'd you get started? And the answer was literally half an hour. Like, he could have left the room and come back half an hour later. The accountant didn't stop talking. In the transcript, like, he doesn't stop talking. So it depends. On average, it might be 10 interviews. It might be 15 or 20. Let's say 10 on average. Can you please show me the Pickering one? You bet. Security and peace of mind. This is Don's handsome face. Oh, wait, hang on. There's Don. Let's see. Don did 14 interviews, 13 other than himself. We interview you for your chapter about you. Very interesting, and I love your ideas. I'm going to need to pass to since my community is less than 10,000. Okay. Enthusiasm is contagious. Awesome, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Sherry. Yeah, 10,000 won't work. I'm sorry. We could talk about helping you some other way, but I would be wasting your money. 10,000 people won't work. For 10,000, heck, I mean, you could market to every single person in your town if you wanted, on a regular basis, and no one would know there was any other advisor in the town. You might be better off doing that than spending your money on this. Again, the 50% off are at 24 hours at marketdominationllc.com/financial advisor book, or 10 slots. If the 10 slots go in less than 24 hours, then we just won't be able to take any more. It'll just say that you just won't be able to add it to your shopping cart. You won't be able to buy it because we have physical limitations in terms of how many staff people we need to do all of the manual labor. Sherry, there are kabillion, that's a good number, kabillion advisors in this town. Well, then you need to differentiate yourself so that there's 10,000 people, but a kabillion advisors. That's not good odds. Maybe we should move. How do I add to cart right away? Roger, if you're on the page, just scroll down and hit the add to cart button, right? There should be an add to cart button where you just click add to cart and punch in your info and sign up, and we'll get you started. What is the name of your publishing company? We've got two, Market Domination Publishing and BMD Publishing Incorporated. Hang on a second. Do you blog on marketdominationllc.com? Yes. And I also write for Think Advisor and Horse's Mouth and a bunch of other places. Have all your advisors been successful? No. That is an excellent question. So we have two advisors who never did anything with the book. The book was published. The book was done. They didn't do a book launch party. They didn't do the launch on Amazon. They didn't do a monthly group. And they didn't send out copies of the book. Literally, they got the book. I'm going to cover up his name. They got the book. Our guy in Atlanta who did a book on estate planning got the book and never did anything. Never sent out a single copy. So it didn't work. So again, if you don't do your part, it won't work. If you don't do the interviews we get for you, it won't work. If you don't market the darn thing, if you don't send it out and get people to send it out, the CPAs and attorneys to do it, and we'll teach you how, it won't work. I can do as much of the work for you as humanly possible, but I can't make you do anything. We had you know what we did? We had that advisor. We had an advisor in Colorado. We got our interviews. She didn't do them. We got all the interviews she would need for the entire book, and she never did a single one. So it didn't work. She didn't even get to the part where she would have a finished book. She just didn't do them. I don't know why. She paid, and she just didn't do the work. You got to do the work. Okay. Is Houston, Texas saturated? Houston. No, it is not. I think I got one guy in Houston. Actually, no, he's in Dallas. Houston, I think, is open. Do you secure an area or region per advisor? How many do you allow in a metropolitan area of 1 to 1.5 million? 1 or 2, maybe? Buffalo's 2 million. We got 3, so can't do 1.5. So 1 or 2. Do you have a kit so that we can do it ourselves and lower the cost? No, that's a good idea. We should sell a here's how to do it course, and then you can do it yourself for the people who didn't want to hire us. So I appreciate the suggestion, Dan Foley. That's a good idea, Dan Foley. If we come up with one, I'll be in touch. Des Moines, Iowa. Nope, nobody in Iowa. Nobody in the entire state. You're all set. Salt Lake City, Utah, none. I got none in Salt Lake. You're all set, Todd. Don't forget my royalties for Dan. Awesome. You know what? We'll work something out, buddy. That was a good idea. Anyone in Raleigh? Yes, we've got one person in Raleigh, but he's going after one specific company. That's another way you could do this. So he interviewed people at one specific company to become the authority at like what to do with your PSP and your pension and your layoff, your early buyout for retirement. It was a big Fortune 500 company in that area. So he didn't do a CPA or attorney book. He did one specific company. Are you saturated in Chicago? What topic do you want, Lisa? I've got a couple in Chicago. Because again, it's also by topic. So for example, the reason I actually have 4 advisors in Buffalo, one just did divorce. And I didn't have any of the other advisors who wanted to just do divorce. Guy I've got in Chicago, I'm thinking I've got college planning in Chicago. So it depends on the topic. If you don't want to be a college planning expert, then you're good in Chicago. Saturation in St. Louis, across from the parking lot of Old A.G. Edwards. Don't have anybody in St. Louis. So I can't even believe it. You know, I got Old A.G. Edwards advisors that on my list, and no one's ever done it in St. Louis. Retirement income, Lisa, financial planner. Lisa, hang on, I got to go back and see what city you were in. Chicago, retirement, you're fine. You're good. My Chicago guy is a college planner. Okay. Other questions? Love the questions, by the way. And again, the podcast is only if your compliance department will let you do it, and it's a bonus. You don't need it. 80% of a lot of our wirehouse advisors, their compliance departments won't let them do it. It doesn't matter. Like Lori hasn't aired hers as a podcast, hasn't affected her at all, but it's an extra bonus if you can. Okay. Okay. Brian, are you still with us?
I am, Seth. And people know too, I sent the link to everybody as well if they're having problems typing it in or whatever. So I put that over in the message box so it's easier for people to click on. So if you're looking for it, it's not popping up for you there. But Seth, if no other questions, I just want to thank you for doing this, man. I love the idea. I think it makes so much sense. I'm a big proponent of writing books myself, so I just love this concept, and I want to thank you for taking the time today and offering this for our people. It looks like everyone got a lot out of it.
Happy to. My pleasure. Lisa, are the podcast, the interviews? Yes. So if you can do the podcast, we would produce an intro and an outro, so it sounds like a real radio show. But yeah, the audio for the podcast would be the interviews. So if I understand correctly, Julia Yoder, this is not available for insurance only. No, it is. It is. We have guys who are just insurance guys and gals who are just insurance people. You don't have to be Series 7 or 6 or whatever to do this. We've got a guy in southern New Jersey who's insurance. We've got a guy in Texas is insurance only. So that's fine. Because again, just the financial advisor part, the only difference would be you could charge a financial planning fee, or you could do assets under management. An insurance person, you'd be getting, commission and trails on life and annuities and long-term care and stuff like that. So Julia, you can absolutely, we have a number of participants who are only insurance or who are insurance only. So go for it, depending on what city you're in.
Seth, when you say insurance only, are you talking life insurance?
Julia, were you talking life insurance? She wasn't specific. I would assume that's what you mean, life, health, something.
Yep.
Julia says yes. Yes. Okay,
Yep.
So I'm assuming you're saying yes to like life and health and fixed or whatever annuities, in which case, yeah, you could absolutely do this. We have a guy who sells Medicare plans. It's free to the client. The insurance company pays him. and he's doing it. So what's going to happen is if you enroll, you'll get taken to an onboarding page where you watch an intro video and you fill out more information that we need, and then we will get you set up with your account rep here. We will have them reach out to you to schedule your onboarding call and get the research, get the process started in terms of defining what topics do you want to go after, what experts do you need, what specializations of them do you need, so that we can go start building that list for you. Again, first month is all us, doing the research, creating the marketing campaign, getting it out the door so that we can get you interviews in month 2. Hang on. Okay, great. Today I'm still swishing some other ideas around. Might need to go to a more regional idea. I'm in one of the states that you don't have somebody in, and I'm certified in long-term care. I'm thinking of some creative ideas now. Thanks for sharing. Life, Sherry. Yeah, long-term, you know what? You could totally do a long-term care book. You'd interview elder care attorneys, estate attorneys, nursing homes. Our Medicaid guy just interviewed, Medicare guy just his book's almost done. And he interviewed a bunch of nursing home directors. And of course, now the really cool part is he's going to go do seminars about the book at the nursing homes to the adult children. And normally, if a financial advisor wants to do a seminar in a nursing home, every financial advisor wants to do a seminar in a nursing home, and they say no. But we wrote about you in the book. Shouldn't we do? We'll give away copies to everybody who comes. It's kind of a no-brainer. Julia, so life insurance, fixed index, universal life, fixed index annuities, much could change on June 9th. Change. Yeah, DOL rule, bane of our existence. I agree. So hoping Trump would get rid of it altogether. All right, awesome. I don't see any other messages in the chat box. So again, go to marketdominationllc.com/financial advisor book. The link is in the chat. We will send out, assuming I have a computer, we'll send out the replay will go out via GoToWebinar, tomorrow. And again, first 10 that aren't in a city that we have oversaturated, which isn't that many. We don't have too many cities that are oversaturated. First come, first served. So we look forward to working with you and look forward to serving with you. And 6 months from now, having your book to show off to other advisors and showing off you as a case study of how well it works. So thanks everybody for coming. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Seth. Appreciate it.